You're listening to Mysteries Beyond. What mysteries lie beyond the reach of our senses? And who are you in this vast multiverse? Hello and welcome to Mysteries Beyond. I'm your host, Laura Lavender. Guys, we are on our last Hermetic Principle, the great 7th Hermetic Principle of gender. So let's just get into it. This principle states that gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes. The Kabbalion. The book points out that gender, in the Hermetic sense, and sex, in the ordinary accepted use of the term, are not the same. Because the word gender is derived from the Latin root meaning to procreate, to generate, to create, to produce. It's more broad and more general than the term sex, referring to the physical distinction between male and female living things. At prima facie, it seems similar to the law of polarity, because this law must also follow the law of polarity. But that is not the case. Let's go further into it. So this principle states that gender manifests on all planes. On the spiritual plane, our emotions, that would be ego, the male energy, versus the heart, the female energy. On the physical plane, that's pretty much what was already stated, the distinction between male and female living things. And on the mental plane, it's your conscious mind, the male force, and the subconscious mind, the female force. According to the Hermetic teachings, it identifies the masculine principle of gender with the positive pole of electricity, and the feminine principle of gender with the negative pole of electricity. The conscious mind, so the male force, that's what we are aware of. So for example, you made a conscious choice to listen to this episode. And the conscious mind makes up 10% of our brain usage. And that's what we know as the human willpower. The subconscious mind, the female force, is what you're currently unaware of. Like you breathing right now. You were probably unaware of the fact that you were breathing until I brought it up. Or the music that's playing in the background. You were probably unaware of that too. But your subconscious mind picks up everything. It's always listening, it's always watching, it's always taking in information. And it makes up about 90% of our brain usage, and that's associated with the sacred feminine. And all of us have both of these male and female energies. The divine masculine, the willpower, the fiery, passionate energy, and the sacred feminine, understanding and compassion energy. So this principle teaches us that there is gender in everything, and that the union of these two energies equals creation. You see, the divine masculine is associated with willpower, focus, reason, strength, endurance, assertiveness, while the sacred feminine is associated with selflessness, compassion, patience, empathy, and understanding. The idea is that your conscious mind, the divine masculine, will use its force to penetrate and impregnate the sacred feminine, our subconscious mind. She will then take it in, absorb the information, process it, and will then give birth to the creation, or it will then manifest into reality. This is why the conscious mind has to be assertive and imposing, because it has to make an impression on the subconscious mind. This is why it's very important to become aware of what you're taking in, whether it be the music that you're listening to or things that you're watching on television, because what goes in must come out. Take, for example, music. If you're listening to a sappy song about how you'll never find love or how that significant other cheated, you might be thinking, yeah, I'm aware of the lyrics, I know what it says. But what about when you play it in the background? Your subconscious is taking it in, and although you may know what the lyrics say, it can still find a way and sneak into your subconscious. This is why sometimes you have those songs stuck in your head. And you see, songs and music can evoke emotions to stir, and those stirred emotions can open doors to the subconscious. And that's why all of us have to be careful about what we take in or what we let in. You don't want to inadvertently manifest situations very similar to what you watched or what you just listened to. This is why companies use logos, right? They're trying to make an impression on your subconscious, and in that manner communicate to it and try to get you to buy their products. The law of gender can also be seen on the physical plane as temples and obelisks, and in the spiritual plane as the yin and yang, right? The yin being the feminine, the yang being the masculine. And again, all of us have both of these energies within us. It's simply about finding a balance between them. Some women can be perceived as being very assertive, very logical, and vice versa. Some men can be perceived as being very compassionate and very understanding. We should not reject either or. We need to embrace them both, but remember to keep that balance. And so, how can you apply this law to manifest whatever it is that you would like into your life? The easiest way that I can think of is to have someone else write out positive notes and place them throughout your house so that your subconscious can see it, but maybe not so much your conscious mind. And if you don't have anybody else, that's fine. You can do it yourself, but just place them, put them in a spot where you know you're gonna have to see them. Just test it out, try it, and then wait a few weeks, and then let me know what happens. Well, that's it for this episode. I hope you guys have enjoyed these episodes on the Hermetic Principles as much as I have enjoyed putting them out here for you guys. These are just some of the things that I've learned and that I'm still learning. And as I've said in the very first episode, I wanted to start out with what I consider to be the fundamentals to our lives. These principles have honestly changed my life for the better, and it gave me a completely different perspective from how I used to view this world, this universe. And I hope it can have a similar effect on you guys. So, thank you guys so much for listening. There is still more to come, so if you guys are enjoying this podcast, go ahead and subscribe so that you may be notified of all other future episodes. Also, don't forget to check out our website at www.mysteriesbeyond.com, and or follow us on social media on Facebook at Mysteries Beyond or on Instagram at lauralavender.mb. Lastly, if you have any questions or any feedback or simply anything that you just feel like sharing, you can email me at lauralavender.mb@gmail.com. Thanks again for listening to Mysteries Beyond. I'm your host, Laura Lavender, and I'll see you next episode.